I'm Adam, I'm the artisan and owner here at 80 Proof Goods, and this is my luxury leather desk mat. I decided it's time to break out the full camera, get away from the point of view footage that you're used to here on the channel, and just get something a little bit more cinematic and thoughtful when it comes time to show you the steps of a project. This, being the luxury desk mat, is actually fairly simple. It's just a lot of material and a lot of prep work, really. I start off by getting the leather edges an inch in on the leather, skived out. I basically skive it in half so that when I fold it over, it's the same thickness as the single piece in the center of the mat. That way, when you're running your wrist over the edge of it, controlling your mouse, you don't feel any bumps in the thickness of the leather when it's folded over, so it's one consistent thickness across the board. I use a really awesome tape product from Tandy, which is like an adhesive tape that holds it together really, really well. The goal here is just to get it to stick to itself in time for me to get it to the sewing machine. And I find that using glue is just an unnecessary step in certain projects, this being one of them. Using glue, there would be just a lot of glue, and you'd have to clamp it all down, wait for that to dry. It's just, there's just inefficiencies in that process. So I decided to switch over to tape since it's getting stitched down and it's not an open, exposed edge anyway. Tape really helps in that scenario. I like to punch the edges so they're nice and rounded. I use a chisel punch for that so that they're consistent in all four corners. Trying to do that by hand or tracing it out using a coin, which is a trick some craftsmen use, I find just can tend to be just a little bit less consistent. This gets you a nice crisp edge in all four of those corners. And then I mark my stitching line using a wing divider. I get a lot of comments saying that people are impressed with how straight I can draw my stitching line. That's not a freehand stitching line. The wing divider actually kind of just attaches to the side edge, the outside edge of the leather, and I can use it as a guide. So it's a consistent mark straight down the sides. So I set that when it comes to those edges that I fold onto itself, I set that about a quarter of an inch away from the edge so that the rolled edge is a ½ inch thick, and I do the stitching line in half of that. So I split that in half. So it tends to be about a quarter of an inch. Now, this particular customer designed their own, and they picked a black leather, which I think you've established by now, and they paired that up with a red stitch. Now, the red thread on the black leather is a classic, I feel like almost like mid to early 2000s color combination. It's always been black and red, right? The bread color combination is classic. And I love it here on the desk mat. If you're looking for like that pop of contrast, which I know I say a lot in all of my videos, but it's so true. If you want something that's just a little bit more unique, I think adding things like this bright, vibrant red to a darker black leather is a great move, especially if your desk already has other accents on it that are black or red. This will just kind of pair in perfectly with that. So when designing your leather product, whether it's a wallet, a desk mat, a valet tray, whatever it is, it's always nice to consider the environment that it would be in and match it to that if you want something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing that's kind of cohesive. Here it is. This is a 16 by 40 inch desk mat. My desk is giant, so it fits really nicely here. If you have a smaller desk, I do make a 12 by 12 and 3 1/4 by 18, I believe off the top of my head it is, for the smaller options. This one being the larger one fits a lot more things. You can put your iPad on the right, your notebook on the left, vice versa. Headphones, your coaster and your coffee can fit on it nicely and still give you room to work.